Invite a Budget Blinds style consultant to show you how to transform your rooms just by changing your window coverings. Canada's #1 choice for window coverings. Visit budgetblinds.ca today.
And let's get into these election results. It was a comfortable win for Conservative candidate and incumbent since 1997 Jerry Ritz last night, as he secured more than 60% of the votes in the Battleford's Lloydminster constituency. He was followed by Glenn Tate of the NDPs with 17.6%, and Liberal candidate Larry Ingram with 16.5%. Independent Doug Anguish and Green Party member Michaela Tenkink round out the rest of the riding. And as you just saw there, after nearly 19 years of representing the constituents of Battleford's Lloydminster, Jerry Ritz once again received a mandate. Although, as Jeremy Thompson reports, his victory was bittersweet.
The line is nearly out the door, with only an hour left until polls close. The people of Battleford Lloydminster excited to vote on what they think are the area's major issues.
There's a lot of women that are missing, and something needs to be addressed with that, and I know that's in our heart as well.
Even on the reserves back home too, my reserve back home, Thunderchild, there's a lot of homeless people there back home also. They don't have enough houses and housing.
Oh yes, our polling station was the busiest in there. Good hour wait.
Just people need to be heard.
At Ritz HQ, attention quickly turns from the Jays game to election coverage as results start pouring in from Atlantic Canada. Supporters clearly don't like what they see.
They're very concerned about some of the wash we saw across Atlantic Canada, coming through Ontario and so on, and it is concerning. We'll have to wait and see how the Liberals react to that. They tend to punish areas that don't support them, but we'll keep them honest.
Ritz is now the former Minister of Agriculture, a post he's held since 2007. He says he's ready to put the pressure on the Liberals to make sure they pick up where he left off.
I'm hoping that the Liberals will be on side with TPP, because that will continue a lot of the great work that Minister Fast and the Prime Minister and I have done in that regard. So I'll be there to make sure that I haunt them a little bit, get that done.
Eventually, a Liberal majority is declared, and Ritz seems actually pleased about that. After being through minorities where nothing got done, he says this result will stabilize the government. However, Ritz is definitely not confident in Justin Trudeau's leadership.
I'm a little bit concerned about the lightweight we're going to have as a leader out on the world stage. I've seen my leader go toe-to-toe with the president of China. I've seen him go toe-to-toe with the president of Russia. This guy can't even go toe-to-toe with the mayor of Montreal. So there's going to be some problems.
As Canada shifts from right to left, the prairies remain a sea of blue, and that suits Jerry Ritz just fine. He says the Conservatives have been the official opposition before, and they know how to do it. Now, as for his own personal riding, he says he's proud to be able to continue to represent his constituents in Ottawa. Reporting from North Battleford, Jeremy Thompson, Newcap News.
Now, as far as possibly running to be the next leader of the Conservative Party, Ritz told Newcap News earlier today that it's not part of his plans at this time. Well, moving on now, it's always a race, maybe not a close race, but a race nonetheless. That's the message NDP candidate Glenn Tate led his supporters with last night after the election. Hannah Tita has more.
It was a quiet evening in North Battleford as last-minute voters headed to the polls.
Well, I think it's probably one of the most important elections. Like the last 10 years, I think Canada has lost one of its most important positions in the world. We used to be a peacekeeper, and we're not anymore, and that's important to me.
Leading up to Election Day, NDP candidate for the Battleford's Lloydminster riding, Glenn Tate, spent time visiting First Nations and trying to rally voters. He said voting was so heavy in some communities, the ballots actually ran out, which he believed to be a good indicator of NDP support.
A lot of the reflection that I got was on Native issues, the missing and murdered Aboriginal women, lack of Native representation in Parliament. It's almost like they're less of an afterthought, more of a nuisance from the perspective of the federal government, and they want to be included.
If and when the NDP gets this riding, they will work together as nation and nation. There'll be a better relationship between the government, between federal government and our local government in our First Nations communities as it was in the past.
Throughout the evening, friends, family, and NDP supporters were glued to screens, anxiously watching the 2015 federal election unfold. As results slowly trickled in, the party died down significantly. Tate says the results turned out more or less as they had expected in their riding.
Liberals did perform better than we thought they would. We're still in a second place in this riding and not as good as we'd hoped nationally, but doing all right. Yes, I wanted to be the next member of Parliament for Battleford's Lloydminster. I am disappointed, but this was not unexpected. So we were well prepared.
Hannah Tita, Newcap News.
It may have been another Conservative win in the battle for its Lloydminster riding, but for the Liberal candidate, Larry Ingram, it doesn't feel like a loss at all. Nicole Stilger explains.
Larry Ingram waits for results in an enthusiastic crowd of Red supporters. It wasn't long before results started pouring in across Canada, and soon enough news broke about a federal Liberal majority. The room is electric despite still waiting for local results. While incumbent Jerry Ritz would be re-elected, Ingram does not seem defeated.
I can't think in my mind that I've really lost at anything because we've done what we set out to do. The percentage of people that have done what I was hoping to see them do is really high.
Larry has made a very, very good showing. We're very, very proud of him.
For Ingram, the First Nations vote was important, as there are 9 Native communities in his riding. He says this year he noticed a better voter turnout than he's seen in a long time.
From what I'm hearing, they've come out in droves for today, and I'm really impressed with that.
I think the campaign got out there that it counted, their vote counted.
Now that First Nations are more aware of the things that are happening, now there's lots of votes going in.
A lot of people, emphasize, exercising your right to vote.
Last night, the Liberals captured almost 17% of the vote, up from 3% last election. And Ingram says that's enough to make him happy. But it was Trudeau Mania 2 that would sweep through the room last night.
I have this wonderful picture of Pierre Trudeau, signed by Pierre, and also now signed by Justin Trudeau, our new Prime Minister-to-be.
I think that this has been an excellent team to be a part of.
Ingram says despite the loss in his constituency, he's excited and still looks at the outcome as a success as he watches Liberal leader Justin Trudeau get the majority vote as Canada's next Prime Minister. Ingram will go back to running his sheet metal business, but will be ready to run again in 4 years. Reporting from Turtleford for Newcap News, I'm Nicole Stilger.